Breaking news, a pause issued by the Trump administration on federal loans and grants is now blocked while the courts are set to battle it out. And News 3 Now talks to a former officer on Capitol Hill. His thoughts on the pardons for those involved in January 6th violence, plus how health officials in Kansas are responding to what's the biggest tuberculosis outbreak in more than 60 years. You're watching News 3 Now at 5. The White House Budget Office ordered a pause on all federal grants and loans earlier today, but just in the last hour or so, a judge blocked that pause until February 3rd. That's Monday. Several agencies around the state and country operate under these grants and loans that would be greatly affected by such a pause. One is the Head Start program, which serves roughly 800,000 low-income children from birth to age 5, as well as their families. Other agencies and organizations that would see funding halted include Meals on Wheels, over 70 universities around the nation, and the National School Lunch Program. The White House press secretary said that Medicare and Social Security would not be affected if the pause continued. However, the White House said the website for Medicaid payments is currently down. So by Monday, this does have the potential to have a big impact right here in Wisconsin. Our political reporter Will Keneally is at the state capitol with the latest.
Yeah, quick work from the governor, whose office is here behind me, sending this letter to the Trump administration, asking them to delay implementation of this until Wisconsin can get more clarification. Otherwise, states like Wisconsin will have to plan for the worst. That call from the governor heated for the moment, at least, as a federal judge temporarily blocked the Trump administration from freezing federal funds.
The reason for this is to ensure that every penny that is going out the door is not conflicting with the executive orders and actions that this president has taken.
The pause was in an effort to block money being spent on things like DEI, which the incoming administration had ideological objections to. But that had almost instant impacts in Wisconsin.
Just walking in here, I got a text from a friend of mine who runs a food pantry and is very panicked because they are the last line of defense for people who are hungry in our community.
Concerns locally about what happens when those federal funds dry up.
Federal funds touch, virtually every part of the state budget, every department that affects our lives, and it's about not quite a third of the funds.
With those funds possibly still up in the air, Wisconsin lawmakers are still trying to figure out the scope.
Without these funds, they're going to run out of food, and they're not going to be able to provide food for hungry families in this country.
Reporting from the state capitol, Will Keneally, News 3 Now.
Will, thank you. Former Northern Wisconsin Congressman Sean Duffy sailed through his Senate confirmation to become the Secretary of Transportation. That was a 77-22 vote. Senator Tammy Baldwin says she was one of the senators who voted to approve Duffy, saying, quote, "I am confident that we can work together to make sure Wisconsin families have safe roads and bridges and our businesses can get their products on shelves on time. Let's get to work." We are again seeing a warmer and breezy day outside. Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington now joining us once again from the weather patio. Alex?
Breezy indeed. What you probably can't hear quite as well as I can out here is just this constant howl, and the wind out here is quite incredible. Yet another windy day today, a mild day today. Wind advisory is still in effect. It's almost a repeat for Janesville and areas off towards the east until 6 p.m. But all of southern Wisconsin have had strong gusty winds today, from 40 miles per hour in Platteville, nearly 40 miles per hour in Janesville, 37 mile per hour wind gusts reported in the Dells, 30 mile per hour wind gusts right here in Madison. So it doesn't matter, even though to the east, wind advisory, all of southern Wisconsin have had those strong winds. Where here comes a gust right now behind me, but the temperature is 49 degrees in Madison, 51 in Lone Rock, 53 in Boscobel, and 47 right now in the Dells. Still with the level of wind out here, it's a bit on the chilly side. 49 in Madison, the actual air temperature 48 in Verona. But this is sometimes that price you pay in the wintertime when you want to get these warm temperatures. You got to have wind to take us from cold to warm, and it's going to stay warm as we plan your evening. Temperatures only at 40 degrees at 10 o'clock tonight. Though coming up in Maine weather, I'll let you know when does the wind end and a little bit more about that unsettled weather that we're expecting this weekend. That's coming up.
All right, Alex, thank you. On day one in office last week, President Trump signed a slew of executive orders, including pardons for January 6th participants. Our Ellie LaLiberte spoke with a former Capitol Hill police officer today about why he's criticizing that move.
Harry Dunn was a Capitol police officer on January 6th. He says these pardons downplay the severity of that day.
I wasn't really surprised because Donald Trump said he was going to do this.
Full pardon.
On his first day in office, President Donald Trump pardoned roughly 1,500 people who took part in the January 6, 2021 riots, including 11 Wisconsinites. Trump fulfilling his campaign promise, and for those pardoned, saying the punishment never fit. But for former Capitol Police Officer Harry Dunn,
The police were overwhelmed.
it's a disappointment.
This ongoing attempt to whitewash, downplay, normalize what happened on January 6th is ongoing and shows no signs of letting up.
Dunn says speaking out is an opportunity to hold those in places of power accountable.
Anybody that fails to accept that, acknowledge that for what that was, deserves to be called out, condemned. For individuals in a position to challenge that, it needs to happen.
Dunn joined SEIU Wisconsin and All Voting is Local Action at the state capitol, emphasizing the importance of the state Supreme Court race this spring.
Violence has no place in our politics.
For the past 4 years, Dunn has been outspoken about January 6th. He says the pardons should not be the last we hear about the day. Reporting at the state capitol, Eliola Liberté.
The Dane County Sheriff's Office says it will be referring a disorderly conduct charge in relation to the closing of Wisconsin Heights School District last Friday. The district canceled classes after a potential threat. The Sheriff's Office says it is referring the charge to the Dane County DA's office after a minor's actions resulted in the one-day closure. Deputies say they confirmed there was no threat last Friday. The high school student is now facing a disorderly conduct charge for, quote, their role in creating unnecessary alarm, end quote. A school bus driver facing charges after not allowing students to get off the bus, later arrested for operating while intoxicated just after school yesterday. This happened in the village of Heartland near Milwaukee. Police say a 72-year-old driver driving for the Heartland Lakeside School District, Waukesha County 911 got a call from a student on the bus saying the driver wouldn't let students off the bus and was acting, quote, erratically. The 72-year-old driver faces charges of first offense OWI with a passenger under the age of 16 and a second-degree recklessly endangering safety charge. Clean energy is now flowing into Madison gas and electric-powered homes. This as the 6-megawatt Strix solar project in Fitchburg is now operational. The site is producing enough energy to power about 1,400 homes each year. 4 megawatts of the project will be going toward existing customers, while the other 2 are going to the company's proposed shared Solar Strix program. Now, that program would allow participants to pay a minimal upfront fee to subscribe to receive energy from the Strix array for 6 years. The longtime site of organized labor in Madison is being put up for sale, looking to be redeveloped and bringing some new life to the property. News 3 Now's Kyle Pozorski has the details.
$7.9 million. That's how much the Madison Labor Temple Association is looking for to sell their longtime headquarters at 1602 South Park Street.
There's such a long history of class struggle inside the walls and halls of this building.
David Poklankowski gave me a tour of the building Tuesday morning, which has started to show its age. After all, it was built 67 years ago.
A now retired union activist, she said that this building looks like it was built by and designed by 50-year-old white men in the 1950s. And it's like, yeah, you got it.
The Labor Association is hoping the sale will lead to a redevelopment on the site, helping to reinvent the growing Park Street neighborhood.
And while this building may not be here in the next decade, David says Madison's labor community certainly will be.
We just want to make sure that we are growing and developing and advancing not only the community, but the labor movement.
David says that while he will hate to see the building go, it's time to bring their facilities up to date, as well as freeing up some valuable space.
Given the needs of the community, the location that we're at, what can we do to facilitate the needs of the community as well as the labor movement?
The Madison Labor Temple Association does have a few conditions for any future development. Those include the need for a space to continue their work, as well as the development must be built using union labor. On Madison's south side, Kyle Pozorski, News 3 Now.
Kyle, thank you. The property's listing also provides a concept plan to build up to 675 units in an 11-story tall building. UW-Madison says it is looking into allegations that women's basketball coach Marissa Mosley and her staff mistreated a former player. Over the weekend, Ball State center Tessa Towers, who played for Wisconsin from 2022 to 2024, made a post on TikTok saying her coaches and staff completely ruined her freshman year and treated her like a, quote, lab rat. The UW Athletic Department released a statement reading in part, quote, "We are aware of the comments shared online by former Badger student athlete Tessa Towers and will be looking into this matter. While we would like to share additional context around Tessa's comments, federal privacy laws prohibit us from publicly addressing the health-related claims made on Tessa's social media account." UW-Whitewater's College of Business and Economics is now a full member of a European group that links business schools from all around the world. It's called the European Foundation for Management Development. Now, the requirements to join include high standards, continuing to improve teaching, research, and engagement with the wider business industry. UW-Whitewater is one of just 27 colleges in the United States to join as a full member. In Prairie du Chien, several different organizations joined forces to give high school students a chance to hone their welding skills. It was all from a collaboration between Southwest Technical College, 3M, Aztec, and the Prairie du Chien Area School District. Jason Knapp from 3M says students trained in the Southwest Tech Mobile Welding Lab gain real exposure to the trades. The event was supported by the Wisconsin Innovation Grant and aimed to inspire students to explore welding as a career. Alex is back next. A complete look at our firstborn forecast. And the 40th season of The Challenge returns to MTV. A closer look at the competition after a short break. And a quick check of the markets today on Wall Street. The Dow up 137 points, and Nasdaq gets back more than half of Monday's losses, up 392 points. And the S&P adds more than 55. We'll be right back.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
The 40th season of The Challenge is coming back to the small screen with memorable power players and redemption seekers paired with their biggest rivals. Returning to MTV, two challenge competitors, Leroy and Beth, are gearing up for the upcoming All-Stars 5 season. Despite their differing reputations, Leroy's the nice guy, Beth known for some drama. Both say they're focused on repairing relationships with rivals in order to win the big cash prize.
To be on a challenge, it takes a lot. And just mentally, I think the hardest part of this whole game will be working with your partner. To be paired up with someone that you truly do not dislike is very hard. For a viewer, it sounds like it'll be something easy to do, but it's not. It's not at all.
Fans can expect plenty of excitement and surprises as this season's rivals twist unfold. Well, Kansas is facing the largest recorded tuberculosis outbreak in the U.S. since the 1950s. According to the Kansas Department of Health and Environment, 67 active cases of the disease have been reported since January of last year. This is in the Kansas City metro area. 2 deaths have been linked to the outbreak. The health department says there could be more cases, and they are following CDC guidance. Despite the outbreak, the risk of the disease being transmitted is low. Symptoms include persistent cough and fever, fatigue, and body aches. Governor Tony Evers announcing a new rule that lowers the lead poisoning threshold in Wisconsin. This rule lowers the threshold from 5 micrograms per deciliter down to 3.5. The lower threshold is meant to identify more children with lead poisoning and offer them the care they need. In Governor Evers' proposed budget, he says he will include $6 million to support lead poisoning intervention and response. In his State of the State address, he said, making sure our kids are healthy physically and mentally is a crucial part of improving outcomes in our classrooms. Well, temperatures may be trending up slightly, but winter, of course, far from over. Discount Tire offering some tips to make sure your winter travel is done safely. The first tip is that for every 10 degrees in temperature change, tires lose 1 pound of pressure. We've all seen those monitor lights go off on our cars. Winter tires can deliver up to a 50% increase in traction compared to all-season tires. Windshield wiper blades should be replaced every 6 months. Also, regularly check your tire tread. Ask a tire specialist about the best ways to measure. A full look now at our first warn forecast. Don't have to worry really about snow these days, Alex. It's warm, and again, another breezy one out there.
Warm and windy, warm and windy. We can say that a couple more times here because we got more warm and windy in the forecast, and not, like you were saying, Eric, not a lot of snow chances, unfortunately, and I say unfortunately because there are those folks that really depend on that in our forecast here. All part of the 3 things you need to know: windy, warm, and an unsettled weekend ahead. We do have that wind advisory for areas just east of Madison. That's Janesville, up towards Jefferson, Beaver Dam, over towards Elkhorn, and off to the east. That goes till 6 o'clock this evening, but all of southern Wisconsin, we've had really gusty winds. 44-mile-per-hour wind gusts. That's the highest one I've seen in the data that I've got access to right now in Monroe. Janesville at 39 miles per hour. Camp Douglas at 35 and the Madison Airport at 31. Right here are Dodgeland, First Warn Weather Cam, Upland Hill Sky Cam. If you watch it here just closely enough, it does shake just a little bit. Not as much as I saw it shaking last night, but strong breezes in the prairies right now in Iowa County. Tomorrow morning, we keep those breezes going as we track the wind easing up a little bit as we go into Wednesday. 30-mile-per-hour wind gusts to start the day. As we go into the afternoon and into the evening, the 10 o'clock newscast, I'll be out in the patio with wind gusts barely existent, so the winds will ease up as we go into Wednesday before revving back up again on Thursday for one more warm day. And it is these winds that are helping to bring those warmer temperatures into southern Wisconsin. Still mild by January standards with normal highs of 27. We'll be pushing nearly 40 degrees again for high temperature on Wednesday, lower 40s over southwestern Wisconsin. As we fast forward and go towards Thursday, here's that warm day again. We've been pushing 50 degrees today. We'll push 50 again on Thursday for much of southern Wisconsin before the temperatures start to go down just a little bit. This is a heads up here. I'm going to go into more detail during our 6 o'clock newscast about our future lineup of weather events. A couple rain and snow showers are possible on Friday, especially for areas south of Madison. Keeping an eye on some rain and snow showers for Saturday and Sunday, and then a sneak peek way out into next week, looking unsettled later in the period. Again, right around 50 degrees here in Madison, 53 right now in Boscoville, and 46 in Janesville. Right here in Dane County, we got a 50 in Waunakee. Sauk City on the other side of the Wisconsin River, you're the winner. 53 degrees right now, so very mild, but those breezes out there do put a little bit of a chill in the air, even though it is very warm and seasonably mild for January standards. When you join us at 6, still in the 40s. When you join us at 10 o'clock, still breezy with temperatures up near 40. Mind you, 39 is about 10 degrees warmer than our normal high temperature for this time of year. Here's that weather system then again on Friday. Mix of rain and snow showers, especially for areas near the Wisconsin-Illinois border at 6. I'll give you a glimpse of what that weather system looks like along with the weather system Saturday going on into Sunday, bringing us a few snow chances. And then later next week, Thursday, eyeing up the next chance of perhaps a little bit more widespread snow shower activity, but not looking at any slam dunk big winter storms for southern Wisconsin, at least not right now, but we've got a long ways to go yet in this winter. All right, traffic. So we do have those strong winds from the west and southwest out there. You may have to contend with those, especially if you're a high-profile vehicle, but that doesn't seem to be impacting traffic speeds right now, east and or westbound and north and or southbound. Things are going at a decent speed. Down in Janesville, our speeds are in the 70s right now, and that's what we would expect for this time of the evening, and 70-mile-per-hour speed limits up towards the Dells. But again, if you're one of those high-profile vehicles, you just want to take it a little bit easy tonight and again on Wednesday with these gusty winds. Eric?
Alex, thank you. And still to come at 5, how technology is allowing people to never forget survivors of the Holocaust. That's after the break.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
New steel barriers are being installed in the French Quarter in New Orleans to restrict access to Bourbon Street. The added security is for the Super Bowl, which takes place in less than 2 weeks, as well as Mardi Gras in March. New Orleans has been in the spotlight over its security measures since the New Year's Day terror attack. That's when a man intentionally drove a truck into a crowd on Bourbon Street, killing 14 people, injuring dozens more. New Orleans will have federal help in securing the Super Bowl and Mardi Gras. A hologram reunites Holocaust survivor and his son, Max Glauben, who passed away in 2022, lives on at the Holocaust and Human Rights Museum in Dallas. Glauben's son, Phil, recently visited there so they could talk about the past, the present, and the future. Sydney Persing reports.
Inside the Dallas Holocaust and Human Rights Museum,
my legacy.
A survivor shares his story. Max Glauben died in 2022, but here, he lives forever as an interactive hologram programmed to talk with visitors about his life. And on this day, Max was greeted by a very special guest.
Dad, can you show us your tattoo?
Phil Glauben is Max's son.
Well, obviously, he's not here physically anymore, but in a lot of ways, it's very consoling that he is.
Phil came to talk to his father on the 80th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz.
I always like to ask him how he survived.
I did it by necessity.
And I still learn things when I come here.
Phil, just like his dad, believes we have to continue to talk about what happened.
Dad, why is it important to remember the Holocaust?
That the Holocaust didn't repeat itself.
When you hear firsthand, I think the message is amplified.
And as fewer and fewer survivors live to share theirs,
I survived.
Max's voice.
Treat everybody
and his message.
The way you like to be treated.
Simply matter so much.
The Holocaust and Human Rights Museum was founded in 1984 by Holocaust survivors. We'll be right back with a final check of your First Warn forecast.
A growing number of states are adopting laws that give fatally ill patients the right to end their own lives. It is known as medical aid in dying.
Our Eye on America tells the story of a woman in New Jersey who made that choice. That is on tonight's CBS Evening News.
Well, tomorrow marks the start of the Lunar New Year, and 2025 is the year of the snake in the Chinese zodiac calendar. Specifically, it's going to be the year of the wood snake, since the 12 zodiac animals can also have different elements. But don't panic. In this tradition, snakes are known for wisdom, charm, and elegance. Tomorrow kicks off a celebration that'll last 15 days. All ends with a lantern festival set for February 12th. Alex rejoins us once again as we take a final check of the forecast.
Well, if you like the warm temperatures, we got that in the forecast. But there's a lot of people that are saying, can we deal with the warm temperatures without the wind? Unfortunately, I don't have good news there. The windy conditions are going to stick around here the next couple of days, although Wednesday won't be quite as windy, if I can get my W's correct here, as what we experienced today on Tuesday. We're staying warm through this whole week, this upcoming weekend, looking a little bit on the unsettled side here. Let's explain. Friday, couple rain, couple snow showers. Temperatures, though, still up near 40 degrees. Could be looking at some snow shower activity Saturday going on into Sunday as well, and that is after we see these really warm temperatures expected on Thursday with breezy conditions. Next week, we cooled down to where we should be for early February. That will be in February at that point in time. Normals with maybe becoming a bit more on the unsettled side as we head towards the end of next week. At 6 o'clock, I'll show you what those weather systems are looking like on Future Track for Friday, Saturday.
It's been a really quiet winter so far with snow. We know there's plenty left.
Fingers crossed.
But so far, not much. Thanks for joining us. We're back in 30 minutes for News 3 Now at 6. CBS Evening News is next.